Hey everybody, I'm Koa.
I'm True.
And this is the Crew Movie Review. Alright, so this is kind of a special video
preview.
because we got to do a sneak preview, sort of.
Advanced screening.
Advanced screening, yeah, not a sneak preview, of Downton Abbey.
And it opens on the November 18th, 19th, or October 18th, 19th. But we'll probably, when we edit it, we'll put it in here exactly. Koa will make sure, and he'll probably put it here, so right here.
We had just happened to know about it, or just found out about it when we went to go watch a movie for something else.
For it.
And it came up, and we bought the tickets for it. And this was like a week before the movie even was showing at this theater, and we got the last 2 seats available for that entire thing, and it was just that one showing, and then we went to go watch it this weekend, and they had a second one available, a second showing available, so we traded our tickets and went and watched that. But anyway, because we went and watched it, they gave us this neat little keychain, a little Downton Abbey keychain. That was kind of neat. See, I don't know if you guys can see that very well. Let's see if we can get it to stop spinning. There we go. So that's a little Downton Abbey keychain. Hopefully it showed up pretty well on the camera.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Did you like it? Knowing that...
I've watched some of the episodes of Downton Abbey. I have to
Just
confess,
because I watched it,
I confess that I have not watched all the episodes. I have seen quite a few of them because True here is a fan of that type of
period dramas. Yeah.
So we watch a lot of period films in that time frame.
Yeah.
So, but and the nice thing was, I don't know.
What woman isn't, right? Well, no, some women don't like
right.
it.
And if you haven't watched
Jane Austen, Bronte sisters.
If you haven't seen the Downton Abbey series before and you go to watch it, I don't know if they're going to do this for every episode, for every showing. But before the movie actually started, they do have like a little cut scene where they had 2 of the characters come on, and they actually explained what was going on with each individual character, from the beginning to the end for that character, and
just to catch up.
And then they went to another character and they said, okay, from beginning to end of that character, and kind of gave you their storylines.
Basically, a summary of what has been going on in the past.
Right.
I believe it's like 7 seasons or 9 seasons of the whole Downton Abbey seasons. Basically just like 3 main story arcs of Downton Abbey and most
of the main characters. So
yeah,
they do kind of catch you up a little bit.
Yeah. So anybody who is not a fan, not a fan, who is not a follower of Downton Abbey, the TV show, you can still go and watch and still enjoy it, because you would still, be explained to you that.
Right. And even that set aside, the story was still, just the characters in this giant Victorian house, even if you hadn't watched any of the movies before, I still thought, or the TV show, still thought this movie was kind of a standalone. You could still watch it and not see any of the previous stuff and still be able to follow it pretty well. It was really it was pretty well written. So I really enjoyed it.
And the production, of course, as always, Julian Fellows, he does a great job with production, and it's just you can feel the how how everything. Well, I wasn't alive back then in the 40s or 30s, where this was set, 40s I believe, where how things were a lot more decadent back then. Even if they didn't have the modern luxuries that we have, things were of better quality back then, and things, what you owned really did matter. If they owned a set of china or a set of silver, it's passed down from generation to generation.
Right. Everything was a status symbol, basically, kind of thing.
Well, not just that. I'm just saying, like, how things are passed down through generations are now treasured across generations.
Right.
Not like nowadays. Like, we don't want our parents' set of china. Like, nobody wants it. Or if we had kids, our kids wouldn't want my set of this or that. Because it's inheritance does not play a big role in nowadays. physical inheritance of houses, that kind of thing.
But you like that.
I love that because it reminds me of how
important some things are, and
yeah,
family,
how
and
things,
history.
How family's valuable, how having some things of your family estate, how it is valuable, how it is not just physical value, but also emotional value.
Right.
And also, I love the etiquette of how things were back then. Yeah.
Anyway, it was definitely a good story. I would definitely go watch it. And as far as what I would rate it, that's a good question.
Wait, before you go into that, what part did you like the most? What part did you like the least?
Okay.
You don't have to go into plot details.
Trying to rate.
Because he tends to do that. He goes into plot details a lot.
Well, I like to explain and give people a reason why I feel a certain way with certain things. So I feel like I have to explain things and where I'm coming from. But yeah, I'll try. I would have to, because I like action. I like comedy. I like sci-fi and fantasy type of stuff. Same. So I tend to gravitate towards those things. So I would say that what I liked about this movie the most would probably be the comic relief in this story, which was that one butler or inspiring butler who...
Aspiring?
Yeah, he's not quite there. He doesn't have the same class, maybe, level as some of the other characters in the movie.
He doesn't have the same tact.
There you go. And he tends to, fumble with his words and the way he does certain things. He's like,
but he's very endearing,
Yeah, no, he's a lovable character. He's a nice guy, but it just, I don't know.
So
I
people
like
who are familiar with the show is Mosley.
Mosley, okay. So yeah, he's funny.
I believe he's a footman. Or valet. Anyway, I can't remember.
He's a servant. I mean, they're all servants, really. Not all of them, I guess. I mean, but.
It's basically everyone, like upstairs, downstairs, the
right.
upstairs class and the downstairs class. But
it was fun, and that's pretty much the only part I really liked was that character. I mean, I like them all. Don't get me wrong.
I understand it was a movie, so they had to keep it generally they didn't have very specific story arcs during the TV show. The characters each had their own little story arcs that they went through they went along with. For the movie, I understand it had to be a general, a plot that all the characters had to interact with. So it kind of the movie lost a little bit of its magic that way, where it's become more of an ensemble movie.
You mean because they have to fit everything into one movie?
Yeah, not just that. It's basically one big storyline, except for the one of the smaller butler characters. That was a little side story, but the main story arc, they had to make one big story arc, which it felt a little strange, just because if you watch the TV miniseries, it's they have multiple going on, and they go into each story arc pretty well. And don't worry, the interaction between the two grannies is still there.
Oh yeah, there is. It's
still very funny. He even found it funny. I heard him chuckling a few times.
Well, because I'm terrible with names. I do apologize.
Me too. Yeah.
But basically, the woman who plays the main granny,
the matriarch of the family.
Yeah, the matriarch of the family.
Maggie Smith.
Right. Okay. So, I mean, I like her as an actress as well as her character in here. She's very, very smart, very witty in her remarks, and she's very, very precise. She's like a fine knife when it comes to insults. She just knows exactly what to say when someone says something, and she's like, yeah, but I would have done this, or I can't say it.
She's very fast
very
in her responses, and it's very funny, that interaction. Yeah. I also one of the ladies' maids, in this TV series, they kind of focused on her also, but in the movie, they kind of cut out her.
Are you talking about the young maid?
Yeah, they kind of cut out their parts a bit, you know, like all the young maids, they had their own little stories going on, and they only focused on one of the younger maids, the cutlery. Is it?
She's the assistant to the chef.
Yeah, the pantry maid. You know, the what do you call this? I can't remember now. But anyway, her storyline is still a little bit. It plays in a little bit, but one of the ladies' maids basically didn't focus. She had a few lines, you know, but her character really didn't play a big role in it, you know.
Well, I think that kind of comes into
And she was one of my favorite characters. So,
yeah.
you know.
I think it kind of comes into play as far as one of the reasons why I didn't like the movie was because it was very long and very slow.
It is a
slow
movie.
2 hours and 15 minutes, or 2 hours and 15 minutes, or 2.5 hours. It's long, but I understand it has to be because they're jumping from one character to the next and kind of telling one little story here, and then they tell a little bit of the story of this character and a little of this character, and they kind of go around the circle and to make one big movie. So but you can't really, in a TV series, you have all these episodes, you have thousands of hours of story time to get these story arcs out for each character, and here you got 2 hours, you got to cram everything in there. But still, I think they did a pretty good job for the time that they had. They probably could make a 2 or 3 part movie. Really,
I think it was a little long towards the end. It's like it kind of loses a little bit. Momentum. Like even for me, like I was like, okay, like it's a little too long, you know. But
I actually thought it was.
It's not that long. It just felt long because it's slowly.
Right.
There's no. I mean, there's a little climax, but not really, you know. And then it's just like how a typical periods drama is. There's no like, hey, bang, bang, and then over. It's not like that.
When it had gotten close to the ending, I actually thought it was over. I was getting ready to get up, and I'm like, oh, there's more. And then lean back down in the chair.
We're like, oh yeah. But there was a scene that everybody laughed, where he even laughed, and look out for that scene. It's a dinner. The final dinner scene.
Oh, the dinner scene.
Yeah, it's funny.
And so, anyway, yes, go see it. And I believe you definitely.
What would you rate it as?
That's a tough one. I would probably go to my default score and say 7 again for this movie.
I would say 7 too. I mean, I enjoyed it. It's like a little extension of the TV series. I wouldn't mind if they had made more movies. After this, just to see how, Downton Abbey,
progresses into the future.
How they adapt into the future generations and things like that. And I think the movie kind of leaves it open a little bit to, to the future possible sequels. I think at the end, and it's very faint, but I believe there could be if they wanted to. But it's just the whole movie was just beautifully made. There were no, they had their own little Downton crisis, like crisis, and then they, at the end everything works out, and I like that. I like those.
So kind of go a little more into it, more analysis here, and spoiler warnings coming up here, so be warned. So the whole plot of the thing is that Downton Abbey is getting a visit from the royal family, and they're coming over for dinner as part of a tour of one of their stops. They're going to several different places, and they're coming here to Downton Abbey to have dinner. And so everyone's getting real manic about this, and the plumbing goes out, and gotta get a plumber, and people get jealous, and there's little side stories in there, and I thought. So I thought it was kind of interesting, for, saying, we got to do something big for the movie. So, what can we do to make it big? And, the king and queen are coming for dinner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and so
I thought it was good.
I don't want to talk about that one scene that I like, the dinner scene where the royals are there. But there was, I will spoil one part, there was a line in there where the mother, I don't know her name, I'm sorry, where she goes, she's apologizing to the queen, and she goes, no, that's okay, people get strange around us. We're used to it because people tend to get a little strange around us, having us around. I thought that was kind of funny, because you're in the presence of, you know, royalty.
And the British takes it, well, maybe at that time more so than now.
Before celebrity
and
stuff like that.
This is like, it's such a big thing. A big thing is happening to their little,
right, their town,
to the town,
and they're the ones hosting it. So
yeah, exactly. And as one of the characters say in the movie, they are of a minor house in a minor provincial county. So and for them to get like, oh my gosh, but it was well done, I think.
Yeah.
I wish we could still be in that kind of time period. I know there were a lot of bad things back then, and that were that are not convenient as we have now. But I think that I wouldn't want to be back in the 1700s. Like Jane Austen times, I wouldn't want that.
I mean, the technology-wise and medical and all that.
Yeah, women are starting to have roles, in the 1930s, 40s time, of importance and things like that. So I wouldn't mind being back then, because that's a good compromise. It's not the present, but it's not way in the past either. It's a good medium. And if you have table cream, it's really table cream, not a mixture of other things.
Well,
things like that,
you hope it's not. I mean, because there was a lot of that going on back then too.
Oh, it was.
Yeah,
oh,
they
okay.
were like putting stuff like plaster of Paris in bread and stuff like that to thicken the bread, and without using less ingredients. So.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, we're getting off track now, but anyway, but go see it. I wouldn't recommend it for people who are not a fan of slow brewing period dramas.
Yeah.
But if you're a fan of Jane Austen, if you're a fan of the old days, go see it. Especially British miniseries dramas and stuff like that. If you're a fan of Downton Abbey, you'll be going to see it.
So.
But
yeah, it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. All right.
Good.
All right. Well, thank you guys, and have a good night.
And that'll conclude the crew review. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.
And watch out for our reviews on these movies next week.